Oil prices have jumped on speculation that European nations are going ahead with banning Russian crude shipments, albeit gradually. According to the New York Times, the phased approach by the European Union will give members such as Germany time to find alternative suppliers. Already, private companies are shunning Russian oil voluntarily as sanctions mount over the attacks on Ukraine. The International Energy Agency says that could cut global supplies by 3 million barrels a day. That's the equivalent of around 3% of the global total. To counter, earlier this week, Russia said it would offer sweetheart deals to friendly countries. President Vladimir Putin has also warned Western nations that any effort to target Russian exports would have severe economic consequences.
Attempts of Western countries to push out Russian suppliers and replace our energy resources with alternative supplies will inevitably affect the world economy. Consequences of such a step can become quite painful, first of all, for the initiators of such a policy.
For more, now let's go to Osama Rizvi. He's an energy and economic analyst at Primary Vision in Lahore in Pakistan. Welcome back to the program, Osama. Now, so the EU trying to wean itself off Russian oil, but where else can they turn to get these supplies? We know Germany gets about 30% of its crude from Russia, so this is a pretty big hole for them to fill.
Yeah, so first of all, we need to contextualize what does this mean. So EU pays around $22 million per day to Russia for coal, which has now been banned, but it pays $930 million for oil and gas supply. So it is very difficult, first of all, to do what they want to do, and I still have doubts regarding that. However, if we are to look at alternatives, there is OPEC Plus, there is Venezuela, there is Iran, there's Algeria, there's Libya, but that is in theory. In practice, if we talk about OPEC Plus, we all know that there is a production cut policy quota going on, and nobody up until now has been able to or willing to increase their production. Moreover, many of the spare capacity within the OPEC Plus comes from Russia. So Russia is the third largest producer of oil. And if we talk about Libya, if we talk about Algeria, there have been some structural issues. There have been infrastructural matters. A civil strife is going on, especially in Libya. So that is also out of option. According to one estimate, the most that can be replaced is 2 million barrels per day out of the 5 million barrels per day that Russia exports to the EU. But that is only possible if OPEC Plus increases its production to maximum. And I don't see that happening. So in terms of alternatives, I see there is a very minute, very less of a room to move around, to manipulate. So I have my doubts whether this will materialize, this ban on oil will whether materialize or not.
Now, looking at the other side, the EU is not the only one trying to diversify. Vladimir Putin has said that he wants his country to sell more to Asian countries, African countries. Can you tell us what they're doing there, if that's even doable? Is there enough demand there?
Yeah, so what we need to realize is that we live in a highly global integrated economy. And if EU is planning to ban Russian oil and gas, Russia is also willing to go and find other markets. So Daniel Yergin, a very famous energy historian, he was on CNBC the other day, and he said something that I absolutely agree with. He said Asia is going to be the default market for Russia, and it is true. Let's take India, which imports 85% of its energy needs. And India, despite being part of the Quad agreement, despite being a US ally and acting as a weight against China, it is on record buying Russian oil at a 20% discount at $35 per barrel discount from Russia. Look at China, a very famous pipeline, the Siberia pipeline. It has restarted its work because now the Nord Stream 2 has been repealed or halted. So what we're looking at is that, and there was a very interesting article recently that Russia has officially joined the Asian Club. It is true. We talk about Pakistan. Pakistan has plans to get gas from Russia through a pipeline that would cost $2.5 billion. We are all looking at energy security, and Asia as a region and Asian countries, which has a lot of developing countries, they face these issues on daily basis. And they can't help but to choose Russia, and Russia has found a default market there. So yes, Russia is going to find alternatives, and they're going to get one. they're going to get many alternatives because this is how the global economic order, if you may, has configured recently.
All right. Very interesting. Thank you, Osama Rizvi, joining us from Lahore in Pakistan.